Welcome to OTC on the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? Awesome to see you. Before we get started with all the Ripple, XRP, cryptocurrency, blockchain, digital asset talk, I wanted to say happy birthday, Chip. And
Thank
just
you,
a
man.
quick saying, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but birthdays are actually good for you because research shows that the more birthdays you have, the longer you live.
That's good research, Jeff. That's what I say about OTC. That's what I say about my co-host. Always does his research, man. So anyway, yeah.
Happy birthday to you. It's a pleasure being here on your birthday.
Yeah, it's good to be
on the Chain community, celebrating with you.
It's another year on the planet. Yes, I did it. So let's get this puppy started. Are you ready, Jeff?
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Kick it off.
Now?
Kick it off. Nah. Just
Welcome to On the Chain.
Yeah, so we got some cool stuff to jump into today because Ripple is really changing it up once again. Came out with a big announcement today, and Jeff and I are going to dive in. We're going to dissect it. It's pretty big, though, because if you guys remember recently, Jeff, remember we did the moving all the money? We looked at all the money in the world, and a blip of it was cryptocurrency, right? And where we're at now,
1%.
It was
like 1%.
It was almost non-existent.
Almost.
We looked at derivatives and the whole entire marketplace. And so now Ripple brilliantly has come out with a way to sort of attack the rest of what's going on there, which is kind of nice. And let's start this out with Mr. Brad Garlinghouse. He's not talking about the lawsuit. He's talking about something brand new. And here's the tweet that he shared. And we're going to kind of jump through this because he said, Ashish Birla lays out our latest vision our vision, I should say, for Ripplenet to serve enterprises in an increasingly tokenized world. Now, Jeff, this is something you brought up the other day about everything's going to be tokenized, right? You keep talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that has been unfolding for a long time. And, I'm glad that Brad Garlinghouse has been watching On the Chain to derive such wisdom.
Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff, right? And he says, we're building the future of crypto-enabled financial services one block at a time. And so that, to me, it's a little bit mysterious, right? Tokenized. What are they doing with Ripplenet? Because we kind of have like an impression of what Ripplenet is, right? We oh yeah, we know what Ripplenet is, and it's kind of been around a while, and it's kind of gone through a little bit of metamorphosis, but it hasn't really, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It hasn't had any major advances, so far. And so Ashish Birla breaks it down in a really nice way. Now he's the general manager of Ripplenet, so it's only appropriate that he would actually pen this. So he came out with a series of tweets, and this is what Garlinghouse was referring to. He said, after nearly a decade in crypto, I'm still amazed how quickly this industry evolves. It's growing block after block, pun intended. Like Legos, it can be put together to form infinite use cases. At Ripple, we're taking that philosophy to heart.
Man, that's a good opening.
It's a nice opening, right?
Yeah, I mean, you start thinking before you even get into what he's going to say. Really, if you look at the concept, look at what, Ripple was built on. We really have to think about the XRP ledger. And you dig into the XRP ledger, and there was so much technology built into the XRPL. And sometimes, people forget about it. It goes a little bit unnoticed. So I think it's really important to bring it all the way back to the beginning. And this is where they're starting to derive some of these ideas from. There's so much more in the world, Chip. I mean, it's just infinitesimal.
But already your interest is peaked, right? You're just they're starting to build this thing up, and it's a nice little tweet storm we put together, 5 panels here. But and we'll jump into it a little bit deeper. He's like, for years, Ripple focused on building and deploying Ripplenet to solve many frictions with cross-border payments. No surprise that so many fintechs and crypto companies are focused on cross-border payments. FX margins were the highest here. So
makes sense.
How many people have we seen enter the space that you recall, as far as in the payment space, a bunch of new people came in. Ripple was really the first to tackle it, but we saw some others come in as well, right? There's Hedera Hashgraph and XDC, and although they're playing in a little bit different verticals, it's
you can't forget about R3, can't forget about Stellar. So there's definitely other players. They're all playing in the same sandbox. It's about how much of the pie they can divide up. Because right now, if you think about the main solution, and you have to always go back to 1974, where you've got Swift. Swift was the first time that banks were able to communicate properly with one another. But the problem, obviously, is that they built a messaging platform, have a common language, but no settlement. And so as you fast forward and you look at all these other solutions, they're all going to have a little bit of a different variation of that messaging communication, and whether or not they have the settlement or the game changer, which is the on-demand liquidity, which is so much more than just the payment space. And I think that's what we're going to hear, right?
No, exactly. But I want to shout out some OGs. Jungle Link is in here tonight. We have Danny Torres, supporters from the beginning. GDLT, Connie Stewart. Who else is Devon? Steve is in here. Everybody's here showing up tonight, which is pretty cool. Jared's here. Just wanted to do a couple little quick shout outs. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Also, Adam is here from Silhouette Park, which is awesome. He says good day because it's next day there. It is coming to us from the future. But yeah, I want to jump into this. It says many fintechs improve the front end and optimize local liquidity pools, but with crypto, you can finally update the back end. You can source FX 24/7 crypto, lots of global liquidity now, and settle funds in one step. While traditionally these would be two distinct steps. So you can see that they are sort of like bridging that. They're bringing it into the future, and the whole idea with the FX markets, Jeff, how important is that to move 24/7, right? The world doesn't operate on Eastern time zone that we're in right now, because we got folks in here from Europe. We got folks in here that are coming to us from Australia, Asia, right?
But in all reality, it should, though. It should, why shouldn't the whole world revolve around the Eastern time zone, right? I mean,
well, it'd be so much easier for me. I always got to calculate time zones.
It just, the whole world would make so much more sense.
But I'm not good at it either.
All the markets just stay in our time zone. No, but you're 100% right. I mean, man, think about 24/7. Yeah, I can remember how exciting it was to get into the crypto space the first time. I'm like, wait a minute, 24/7? I could sit here, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm buying and selling a digital asset. It's completely brand new, and it's constantly changing, constantly moving. It's amazing, and you don't have to figure out, think about trying to get onto the Japanese exchange or the German exchange or, whatever. It's very difficult to do as a retail buyer. You're pretty much not going to be able to do it. And so here it changes the whole dynamics. But moving the foreign currency exchange, over to a 24/7 kind of scenario, which you're taking a bunch of the human element out of it, and you're kind of automating the process, digitizing the process, tokenizing the process. Man, it's completely game changer. So those are number 3 to me, is what, ties it all together so far.
Yeah, so I'm liking this whole thing. And this is what's nice about that, because they go really deep dive into this whole thing. But then he says the world's becoming more tokenized, and it's something we talk about often here. You bring it up a lot. That much is abundantly clear. All signs point to DeFi becoming ubiquitous as web or mobile to become and enabling the flow of information, which requires healthy liquidity for all kinds of assets. And this is it right here. You must have the liquidity, especially he's always sort of like brought DeFi in there. It's going to be as ubiquitous as data on a phone, sitting just like no big deal, Jeff. It's just going to be everywhere, all the time.
Oh, check this out. Look at that. Oh,
hello, people.
There we go.
Oh my God.
206 sitting here waiting for his daughter to be born. Happy birthday, Chip.
Well, we got a brand new OTC family member coming tonight, guys. Give it up, and hope everything goes well. Man,
On
that
your
is
birthday.
very, very cool. And on my birthday, I appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that.
Surprise, Chip. That's your.
My
that's your
daughter said to
birthday
me today,
present.
she's like, "Pop, are you working on your birthday?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. What do you think I'm gonna do? What do you think? You get the day off? I mean, I could take the day off, but I'm like, it's middle of the week, short week. Of course I'm gonna work, But I thought that was really sweet. And then 5, he finishes it up with, to build the future, we're evolving Ripplenet. Now, right there, evolving Ripplenet to provide more than just crypto-enabled cross-border payments. It's about being the bridge between growing world of tokenized services and traditional enterprises that we want to enter this space. More to come. This is one of the probably more
Huge
exciting.
right there.
This right here, Jeff, might be one of the most exciting announcements because they're like cross-border payments. They're like now tokenized. That means everything, all the money and anything that's tokenized, right? You can have a tokenized stock, real estate, whatever. Oh, Catherine, sorry to see you.
Good night
That's
to Catherine. She's
Catch you
getting
in the
ready to
morning.
miss the best part. So tune back in.
I'll
when you
catch you
wake
in the
up.
morning. Pick it up at the, what are we? The 10-minute mark. There you go. You can always pick it up. But
Have a good
to
night.
me, this right here, like evolving Ripplenet, making it broader, going into this market. And right now, they're the bridge when you look at like interoperability with all assets, digital assets, fiat currencies. They are a phenomenal bridge. Now, they're talking about everything that's tokenized. I mean, real estate, stocks, you name it, NFT, everything's going to be tokenized, right? And so you have to have some interoperability. How are you going to move it?
I like that. But so you have that component of it. The other part is traditional enterprise that want to enter the space that aren't. So we're not talking about just, a micro strategy buying Bitcoin. You're talking about, how can they get actively involved in utilizing and benefiting from a blockchain base, or how can they even, here using Ripplenet and the focus on how can you benefit from using the XRP ledger? How can you benefit from 24/7 FX? How can you benefit from easily moving money around rapidly at low cost? With it really, it's changing the whole, fundamental. I mean, the whole conversation just gets shifted right now, my opinion, because before the only focus was on the banks. Now they're saying, okay, banks, you guys are going to be good. It's going to take a lot longer, regulatory clarity, all that stuff. Enterprises also need, some major support here. Let's go focus on them as well. And
not banks, but financial institutions, right? That kind of lumps everything together, and one of those sub sort of levels is that. So they put out, this is funny because Jeff and I were sort of workshopping this prior to the show, doing our pre-show sort of, research and sort of talking things out. It says an 8-minute read. It took Jeff and I a while to go through this thing and start really looking at it because, of course, we had to read 3 sentences and then talk about it for 17 minutes. No, I'm kidding. But, it takes analysis. You got to where is he going with this? So basically evolving Ripplenet for a tokenized future. Going to go in there, going to jump in that sandbox and start playing. I thought this was an interesting stat right here. It's estimated that 46 Americans own crypto today. Many other countries are adopting this tech at higher rates. Companies like Square, Robinhood, Visa. Visa said they're going to interface with 50 exchanges to be able to purchase and buy,
what do you think of that? What do you think of that? How interesting is that?
I think they're getting into the space big time. I mean, it's really, I like any company that's going to keep raising that bar and keep the adoption going, right? So they're basically making it easy for anybody. When you have Robinhood or you have, Square's limited right now as far as what digital assets, but make it easy for people and whatever they like, right? You've had a Visa card forever, and so Visa's your sort of window to be able to buy, or you're on Coinbase or you're on whatever exchange it might be, but making it easy, PayPal.
Yeah, exactly.
So it talks about, obviously NFTs. Now, a lot of this stuff is sort of like a preamble. It's a warm up. They talk about in 2012 when they first launched, crypto and blockchain were largely lacked infrastructure. It had zero infrastructure. It was 3 years basically after, Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper, right? There really wasn't a lot going on then. And there was a need for adoption. But look at this stat here. Back then, they were doing a few $1 million a year in volume compared to traditional exchanges. The NASDAQ was doing about $5 billion in volume a day. And this is 9 years ago, $5 billion per day. Fast forward today to hundreds of exchanges around the world doing billions in volume every day. So it's sort of caught up. It's all over the place on these, these centralized and decentralized exchanges. So with the increase, there's a growing need for the tokenization. The use of digital tokens represent ownership of any type of asset, whether it's physical or not, on the blockchain. Tokenization is transforming how people buy, sell, track, and manage assets. Then he gets into it: art, real estate, IP, intellectual property, equities, supply chain goods. Pretty much anything that lives in the world can be tokenized at some point.
It's impressive. I like how they said that. What does that say? The World Economic Forum projects 10% of the world's GDP will be tokenized by 2027. Wow. I mean, that's pretty massive.
It's insane, 10%,
right? Right.
It could be more. It could be a little less. So they said the years of working with financial institutions on using blockchain-based tech, Ripple's uniquely positioned to partner with enterprises. So they're kind of like laying out the use case here, talking about how everything's going to be tokenized at some point, and they want a piece of it. How are they going to get it? Ripplenet. So there they go. So first, you got to prepare the enterprise for the crypto future. Talk about Ripple evolving. Now, Jeff, does this seem like a company that's being sued by the SEC right now? They're like, hold my beer. Yeah. We got business to conduct.
Exactly. They're like, here you go, Gensler. Good luck with all this noise. And it's just a bunch of noise pollution right now, as they're rolling out their agenda. I mean, the timing of this right here, right now is impressive. We're starting to see the momentum, Chip. I mean, all over the world that talks about digital currencies. You have the digital yuan, digital euro, digital dollar, all these different, CBDCs that are now being tested and sandboxed all over the world. But here is Ripplenet already positioned. I don't see any of these other platforms that are truly in this prime position to carry and help with the transaction and the movement of all this money that's going to have to happen. They've been building out and orchestrating the rails, even if it was done for banking or, for the institutions. Now those same rails are theoretically in place. I mean, it's not much to branch off of it. A little bit here. Hey, we got this bank here. Let's do this, and they start looking at how the enterprise benefits from this infrastructure that they're building, and to really build on top of it. It's so amazing. I mean, you think about it just from simplistic, doesn't work exactly like this, but you think about the railroad, they build the trains for freight, and then all of a sudden there's passenger trains. You got Amtrak rolling down the same track. Over here, you've got that, forget what the train is that we got over here. Because
you never take it, Jeff. That's why we don't know the name of it. We've never ridden it before. That's what we just watch. We just get annoyed when we're
brand new one, right?
When we're in our trucks,
and like, there's a train again.
They stop. They're like, oh man, I need to get somewhere quick. But
yeah, so bright line.
So Jeff and I are going to jump into why this is so important and what the big deal is. Like, oh yeah, they're expanding Ripplenet. No. This is much bigger, and the reason that Ripple's so much further ahead than other companies are the products that they rolled out. This is not possible without a couple different components here. First of all, on-demand liquidity, you're going to see how that plays a part. Line of credit rolled out last October. Everyone's like, what does that mean? They're solving an important problem that small to medium enterprise companies have and larger financial institutions when it comes to liquidity, when it comes to sourcing payments, right? Now, I haven't heard of anybody in the space that's even thought of the problem, and this is where the liquidity issues are going to run amok when you have something like XLM or, XDC, Hedera Hashgraph, any one of the sort of, the digital assets that can be used for payments, right? This goes beyond that. And he points it out right here. It talks about on-demand liquidity, eliminating the need for pre-funding in the cross-border payments by using XRP as a bridge. And again, this is where Ripplenet is pulling the XRP big time into this product, and we'll explain as we go. And a bridge between two currencies. The first movers started with using the product. Became clear that the businesses would find the most value would be the PSPs and the digital first banks, because they're the ones that basically specialize in remittance. That's and right. ODLs, those are the ones that started, right?
Yep. ODL is everything. ODL is the game changer. So
Yeah.
again, you look at Ripplenet, it's a payment service provider, but it was, again, a communication platform, but it also helped to facilitate settlement. It
Right.
didn't necessarily complete it, facilitated, where the ODL is a, fulfillment. It's allowing for all of that extra liquidity, and it changes the whole conversation. And that's where I think, if you look at R3, you look at Stellar, you look at Swift, again, they don't have the ODL component. Without ODL, Ripplenet's interesting, but it's just dime a dozen. It's not going to do anything, phenomenal. It's just a better version of Swift. So why
Right.
would you change? Swift can make itself better. Let's just stick with Swift. It's easier. But then you look at this idea that you're about to bring up, the line of credit notion, and the ODL in the banking space is game changing. Now in the enterprise, how does this impact things on a global scale? How does this impact big business?
Yeah, well, this is what I like about where they're going with this, because they start saying, okay, we've got the on-demand liquidity. They talk about the line of credit. Let's throw this back up here. In 2020 of October, they introduced line of credit. This was an extension of ODL that allowed Ripplenet customers to source capital on demand. So the same problem that these financial institutions had with moving cross-border, the pre-funding, right? The Nostro Vostro, pre-funding these accounts and having all that money, which basically tied up their liquidity. It was all out there, because they couldn't really deal with it, but they had to have it, and they had to have it in the, set up there. Now you have what they're going into here is that you could source capital on demand. So it's doing for companies that don't have the liquid capital to be able to source it, boom, on demand. You have on-demand liquidity that handles the settlement part, point A to point B, going across the XRPL. And what's the most important component there? XRP. Right, that makes all that possible. Now you factor in the line of credit. It says, unlike incumbents who have large balance sheets that allow them to scale their businesses quickly, many fintechs and small to medium-sized enterprise lack the capital, the resources to compete. So they're kind of like, because they don't have that working capital, and you know this, Jeff, we've all been there before, where yeah, I could do this if I had that. Well, what if you could source it like this, right? Anytime you wanted. And I mean, obviously you're going to qualify for it, but it says before switching to Ripplenet, they didn't have access to the same services as the traditional financial institutions, how they source money, right? They get it real cheap. So this is a problem. If you're a small to medium enterprise, you're not paying the same as the big boys. The big boys get it for nothing. You pay because the big boys trickle that down to the us, basically, right?
But now even having almost instant access. So even the big, the big institutions, they have the money, but still getting that instant access, the instant movement changes things.
Yeah, and
So
sometimes
having access, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and sometimes you go to like venture capitalists just to have money to be able to fund your payment flows, and that's a really bad use. You're giving up a big part of your company to do that. So they said we're constantly meeting the needs. Now this is where it starts to get interesting. I want you guys to pay attention here, because this kind of like blew Jeff and I away when we were going through this and dissecting it. It all starts with a wallet. You're like, what's this about? Says all customers ready to move from fiat to crypto-enabled flows were easily able to add new services and capability like ODL and line of credit. Now, I will liken this to if you're a developer and you work with AWS, which is Amazon, and one of the things that I loved about working with it, and our company works with it, is that you can spin up services, right? If you're in the network and you were expecting a surge in traffic, you could spin up a bunch of instances, prep them, and then they would be able to scale on demand, right? They would be able to scale. And this is why AWS is the leader, and 80% of the big company websites are run on AWS. Google doesn't have that. They're way behind. And even to another extent, which is pretty good, you have, IBM, but they're the leader for a reason, because you can set it up. You can spin up a new instance. Now, what they're talking about here, Jeff, is having a wallet. Now going, instead of the concept of fiat, let's see, where am I? I'm based in, Great Britain. I have GBP. I gotta set, no, that's gone. crypto wallet. So what does that allow you to do? It allows you to start using the services, right? You can start using ODL, line of credit. You're now crypto first. And this is a big difference of what we've seen with other organizations, what they're trying to do here. It also says in the
I
future.
like this, Chip. A Ripple enabled wallet to custody XRP, BTC, stablecoins, anything that's tokenized. I mean, this is impressive. So if it is what it sounds like, you have it's almost like using a MetaMask concept. Sounds like it, where you have the MetaMask. You basically have one address, and you're sending everything to that address, and it's parsing it out into whatever it is. And in this scenario, same thing. It looks like it's going to be a Ripple wallet, potentially one Ripple address. I don't know. Maybe they'll subset it. But imagine if that was the case. It was all coming through the Ripplenet in a Ripple format, but then it automatically parses it out into the various asset classes. To me, it simplifies the process. Not sure if that's what they're referring to. Kind of sounds like it might be, but that change, one of the things that we've talked about a lot, Chip, we've referenced it, is that in order to get full mainstream adoption, especially at that level, you have to simplify it. The workflow has to be easy. It can't be complex. It can't be like, oh, am I getting Bitcoin, fiat, XRP? Is it a stable coin? What is it? Let me make sure I'm sending it to the right address. And now you've got 1,000 addresses. You're trying to figure it all out. You make a mistake, human error. I sent my XRP to my XLM wallet, and now I just lost $10 million.
Yeah.
So it has to be one address, simplified.
Well, the whole idea of the wallet's not a new concept. They've been running this stuff, right? But the idea of thinking with financial institutions, thinking in terms of digital first, because you're able to spin up new services, this on-demand, liquidity, the credit, having a line of credit and everything. So it's a different way to do it. But the big game changer here has to do with the fact of tokenized, moving everything tokenized. I mean, the payments is this space. Tokenized is going to be everything else, right? And payments is a huge space too, especially moving the money. But if you're going to need interoperability to move tokenized, let's say real estate, right? There's some companies out there now that are tokenizing real estate, tokenizing art. Well, they're going to bring it together. You're going to be able. They want to play in that space because they see a giant sort of market. But here's the kicker: they're going to use XRP, right? Because they've got to be able to move it from point A to point B. They want to be able to leverage the tokenized assets. They're going to use XRPL, and they're going to bring it across. And what is that going to mean? It's going to be more volume for XRP. What does more volume mean? Well, more volume, probably at some point, we all know that David Schwartz said that XRP was not designed to be 60 cents, $1.50, $10. It wasn't designed for that. When you're moving, and Jeff, what was the example you gave earlier? If you move, I don't know, $1 million, right? Even $1 million, how many XRP is that? It's 60 cents. But what if it's now 1,000? What if it's 700, 800, or 1,000? Okay, and it's pretty stabilized, right? It might flex a little bit, but in 3 or 4 seconds, there's not going to be any loss. That
you
right
lock
there,
it in, you move it. It's dynamic. Yeah,
that makes it there. And he says so when they launched ODL commercially in 2018. It's funny because it seems like it was just yesterday, but it's almost 3 years. The payment flow required payments to be originated in fiat, converted to XRP, then converted again to fiat in the destination country. Then over the years, we refined ODL, streamlining the product to improve efficiency and experience. Today's ODL, customers can send XRP for cross-border payments directly through a crypto wallet. They can leverage their wallet to source XRP on demand instead of having to source it through a third party. And that's another big one too, because
that's
they don't have to go to some exchange to be able to source it, right? They're sourcing it direct. This also gives more flexibility and choice to customers while reducing the friction in the payment flow. Gives our customers the ability to grow and scale quickly with new partners and currencies. And like you said, Jeff, you brought this up. It simplifies the onboarding process, enables multiple currencies through a single wallet, and it's digital first.
It's impressive. I mean, it really is. It's
exciting, man. It's like tokenized everything.
Man, this is like, we've been sitting back talking about Ripplenet for this extended period of time. Is it all about the banks? Here's what they're doing: cross-border payments. Get excited about the XRP ledger technology, others that are building on it. Now all of a sudden, Ripplenet, here they go, or Ripple, here they go. How about enterprise? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this available to all of them, all the money, everything, all the transactions, anything tokenized through one wallet. I mean, and have the ODL and have the line of credit and all these things that are critical in the enterprise at an enterprise level. Big business needs all of these instruments in order to facilitate the streamlining of business, simplifying business. I mean, man, I'm fired up. I'm excited about this. I think, they just outdid themselves. It's good.
Yeah. And you know what's great? What I love about this is that it sort of fits in line. They didn't go like, okay, we did cross-border payments, but now we're going to go, do some crazy thing. No, it's an adjunct, sort of a add-on that makes sense. If they're going to move money and they're going to do that stuff, well, the next evolutionary step is tokenize, right? Tokenized everything. They see that thing blowing up, and guess who wants to be at the beginning of all that happening? Who else is talking about it? So, and who else has the products to make this happen? This to me is like amazing. And I love this example they give here. They talk about Flash Effects, which is based out of Australia. They basically started the company on a belief that smart technologies is basically the key to unlocking the potential of global payments. They're constantly looking for new ways to integrate cutting edge technology to bring to their customers the most innovative services. And as a long-standing on-demand liquidity customer, Flash Effects was one of the first to connect the customer leveraging Ripple's new ODL model. As such, they're now able to support payments in GBP, a currency ODL didn't support previously, as well as Euro payments, Euro payments. That's what it is. Flash Effects is one customer growing their business with Ripple's products, and they give a really nice sort of a scenario with the new version of ODL. Now that it opened up a whole new market, and then Flash Effects gets it because they're going after the global payment, right?
It's awesome. I'm loving it. I love every aspect of it. I mean, it's funny too, because one of the things that we get into a little bit with some of the leadership at Ripple is they go a little bit off the reservation, so to speak, and start getting into politics. Sometimes. But then it all gets pulled back in because, again, they say, hey, you know what, even though, we might have a difference of opinion, check this out. Check out what we're going to be doing for the business space. Here's what we're passionate about. It's great. I'm seeing this unfold. We were dissecting this earlier, and it had some meaning earlier, but the more we dissect it, the more we talk about it, the more you realize how far ahead of the game these guys are. They're outsmarting most of the space right now. Bitcoin.
Yeah, relax, please. BZ's here.
You guys relax.
Chill.
Oh, there we go. All right, let's
good.
start over again. Since since everybody's here right now, many of you might have already missed this part of this, unless you're watching it back from the beginning, and therefore you already heard it. But it's Chip's birthday today, so everybody that just came in, wish Chip a happy birthday.
45, Jeff. I love the number.
45. I was going to say 29.
45 eternal.
45 is good too.
It's such a cool number.
45 is solid. 45 is good. Maybe I'll turn 45 this year too.
Why don't you, Jeff? Everyone's doing it.
Everybody should be 45.
You do it?
45
and so
is a good number.
It's a nice number. I like it. So you have new customers like Novati join Ripple's global payment network. They were using on-demand liquidity to enable payments from Australia to the Philippines. And then Ripple acquired 40% of Asia's leading cross-border payment specialist, Tranglo, to accelerate the expansion. I think that's a big move too, right? That kind of was like, oh, they got Tranglo. Well, look what Tranglo is up to. Tranglo accelerates the expansion of ODL and line of credit in the region. And this is over in Asia, which is the region that is blowing up and embracing, giving giant hugs to the digital revolution that's happening that's known as crypto and blockchain. And then it talks as more enterprises want to add crypto-enabled services like Novati and Tranglo play a vital role in the network as fiat on and off ramps, because you need the on and off ramps, Jeff. There's going to be somebody there to be able to handle that. And that certainly is them. And so they kind of like wrap it up here, like, hey, if you're a financial institution, you're looking for that competitive advantage, you want to drive growth through crypto, contact us, right? So they're making a good play here. But again, they are leaders in the space. Thank you for that, Seth. Appreciate that. Space XRP, appreciate the happy everybody. Really appreciate the birthday greetings here tonight. Appreciate that, man. That is so nice.
What kind of job openings do they have? Maybe they need a couple
happy 45th. Yay.
on the chain consultants.
Billionaire before 50. Damn right. I'll say whatever. That's what Buford T. Justice says. Why not? So that's a couple years. I think we're good for that. Yeah, we're good. We have Ireland in the house here tonight as well.
And shout out where you guys are all tuning in from.
Yeah, we always like to see
where everybody. We got people from all over the world. This isn't a U.S. centric show or community. Our on the chain community is by far the smartest community in the space. So we have some phenomenal people here. Great comments, great feedback. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and then you do something like this. You subscribe if you think you like it, you want to check it out again. And that also helps tickle that algorithm of the YouTubers, and it kind of says, hey, man, this guy liked it. How about the other videos he watches? And that's what it does. It suggests it. So, or the best way to do this. I appreciate that, NR. Newbie.
NR is brand new. So if you're brand new, hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. That way then you get to hang out with us. It's awesome.
You get to hang out with us 6 days a week, by the way. So that's always cool. But check out Jeff. Like, you go like this. Yeah, Ripple's based in San Francisco. Yes, the SEC is going after them. But Ripple is a global company, okay? They just happen to be headquarters in San Francisco.
Wait a minute. They have some opportunities in Reykjavik?
Yeah, Reykjavik. Let's go.
See what those are. I'm willing to move there.
Well, I'm going to hit them in a second. But just like
I don't mind Iceland or Dubai. Dubai's kind of cool too.
By the way, Sao Paulo is moving big time. That's where my
big too.
That's where my son-in-law is from there. So you got Sao Paulo there, which is great. New York, Dubai, London, Reykjavik. You got Singapore, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and Mumbai. Okay, they're global. I've been
everywhere. I've been everywhere on this list except for Singapore.
But I am disturbed. Why don't they have anywhere in Australia here? I don't see that. Well,
see, Australia would be cool too.
Australia, New Zealand. Nice. We need to be there as well. Let's look at the
New Zealand would be awesome.
Yeah, I love New Zealand. It's amazing. So BizDev, look where so you can see where they're located right here. You got some design opportunities. Those are all in San Francisco. These are all in San Francisco. But look at all the open recs they have. Engineers.
Reykjavik. There you go. A senior software engineer in Reykjavik.
Jeff, are you a staff software engineer? No.
I could be.
You could be. There's Mumbai. They got a tech services engineer. But look at this. Finance, obviously, that's going to be in San Fran. You can work in the global workplace as a senior manager of workplace operations, but you're going to be doing it in San Francisco. Yeah. London, Singapore, Japan. That's pretty interesting right there. Look at that, that JV.
Cool. Look at Head of sales and customer service. So I like that. That looks pretty cool.
What does that tell you? It tells you they're going to be acquiring more companies potentially. You got JV.
Nice.
And where would you do that? Japan makes sense, right?
Dude, South Korea too. Man, South Korea is great.
You're going to be a liaison between Ripple and SBI Asia. Build strong relationships with functional leads in Ripple. Liaison between SBI Asia and other SBI companies. So yeah, this is pretty nice.
What are the language requirements?
I don't know, Jeff. Too much word there. Look at them all. That's a lot right there. That's a lot of open recs there. It's fantastic.
That's really cool.
A lot of stuff.
It's good to see. That shows you growth.
Wow, Jackie, that's so nice.
Nice. There you
Jackie,
go.
Appreciate that. That's nice. Birthday for you, Chip. And you can share one with Jeff. Oh, as always, everything we do is shared. I mean, it's just always a really good thing, man. Really appreciate that. And then boom, we've got XRP Supercar. Thank you. That big support with Tenor. I appreciate that. Happy birthday. And this is actually a lot of fun for me to come in here, see the OTC family. You know, like my family called me all day and wished me happy birthday. OTC family, man. This is great. Wouldn't want to be at any place else. And that was the other thing that my daughter wrote in the card. She goes, yeah, I hope you guys have a great stream tonight. I was like, yeah. I said, and she says, I hope you get a lot of birthday wishes. And so Mission accomplished. Check that puppy off. But thank you for that super card. Thank you for that, Jackie. Much appreciated. And man, Jeff, we had so many things in our keep tonight. There's so many things to talk about. But this Ripple thing, I'm just jazzed about it because they're starting to get companies to think, and they're already starting to look at digital assets. They're looking at a wallet, going crypto first, being able to source that credit. Now the credit was actually pretty affordable. I know we've broken it down in the past, but it depends on how much you need on demand. But you can kind of get a floater for like 30 days because that's the problem, right? You're waiting for something. When you're a company, your funds are always tied up, so you need something to be able to do that, and then you end up paying interest on it. And they had very amazingly realistic, I would say, very reasonable rates that they set up. So I think this is really what we want to kind of keep in mind looking through that.
But it's monumental. Again, as they expand, as they grow, building out the use case. Now it's a matter of who else in the space is going to be utilizing the XRP ledger to develop and build along this same path. Ripple is definitely so far ahead with Ripplenet, but it starts getting people's creative juices flowing to figure out what else can you do with a ledger? What else can you do with XRP? How can you interface with Ripple and somehow piggyback on what Ripplenet's doing to build something outstanding in the space? How does the tokenization get fulfilled with XRP? Man, it's on and on and on. So you got Nadawat Jackson. Happy birthday and thank you, Mr. Chip.
Thank you, Mr. Chip. I like that. Sounds important. Mr. Chip here. What's going on, people? And so, Jeff,
and then,
as a sort of complimentary, thank you for that, Nadawat Jackson.
Well, there's a song for you also, and I think you'll really appreciate this song.
Please put it on.
This is just uniquely just for your birthday. You'll never hear it again. This is going to be the first time ever.
Okay, all right. Let's.
Wie einst Lily Marlin. Wie einst Lily Marlin.
Sir John, thank you for that. I've never heard that before.
It's almost happy birthday.
So I wanted, it's close enough. We'll take it. So as a companion story, look at this. Ripple ODL registered in the UAE to provide payments and other electronic financial services. And this here is pretty interesting, right? People are looking at price. They're focused on price. I get it. We're investors. But you got to look at the bigger picture here, right? It goes really beyond price. Yeah, okay. But look, you got to look at what's being built, okay? You build the foundation strong, and then all of a sudden that building shoots up, right? But they're working on that foundation. Sometimes when, when the Freedom Tower, when they built that in New York, Jeff, they worked on that foundation for like 2 years. It goes like 5, 6, levels deep, and they had to deal with that. Plus they have the transit system. And the next thing you know, that thing started going up. And so that's kind of why you want to look at it. But it says here, Ripple, Panda, XRP, and Kahneman broke tweets. What about announcement of Ripple's ODL trademark being officially registered in the UAE ministry? And this isn't terribly new. This kind of broke the other day, but it's exciting, man. So this was the announcement for the official registration of the Ripple on-demand liquidity trademark, right? That they're going to, trademark it. And again, that's what they're doing all over the world. They're going to own the rails. Like, they have to be set up. And we saw, Jeff, what happened when MoneyGram pulled out. There's chief financial officer. They said, well, why don't you just replace it with another? He goes, there is nothing to replace it with. There was nothing. Right. Why? Nothing. They don't have the rails. They don't have the on-demand liquidity to be able to do it. You're like, I have a digital asset moves from here to there in 3 seconds. Okay, so then now what? How do you source the liquidity for that? How do you, how are you going to have that instantly available? That's what they're missing, and that's where these guys are building something really cool. Then you've got the Wrath of Common, who I love. It says from Alpha News on apologies, the translation is difficult. Appreciate any help on native speakers. I do not know what the announcements are, but basically what it was, it talked about the Ripple on-demand liquidity patent, or the registration. What do they call it here? Yeah, it registered with the UAE regulator to provide the P2P financial. They're just doing it in the UAE. UAE is another important marketplace, Jeff. Just another place. Translation in the comments, Ripple registered ODL to provide electronic financial services to do with payments involving fiat currencies. Well, it's just all about the ODL. So again, making moves. I want to put this up there. RRFF. Thank you for that. Have you looked at Solve Healthcare Play? Do you know anything about Solve, Jeff? You know, you play in that sandbox.
Matter of fact.
I saw something about that.
Matter of fact, I do.
Of course
No,
you
it's
do.
the first time I've ever heard of this one. There's a bunch of them in the healthcare space that have popped up in the past. None of them really got significant traction, as far as I'm concerned, to really get into this. This is interesting. Mostly focused, and this is kind of what I've seen also. The majority of them seem to focus in on insurance companies. I think overall in the telehealth, I think is important. But there's so much more that could be done in the healthcare space to help streamline healthcare in general. One of the visions that I always had with this, that I drafted out, I started writing out a white paper on something in the healthcare space. And it really has to do, with payments, but more than that, being through the telehealth, being able to access doctors anywhere in the world. If you want a world-class doctor, why do you have to rely on the doctors in your community when the world-class doctor is in another country? And if you can do it through a platform like this, streamlining payments and streamlining data and all of that, keeping it safe and secure. I like the idea also paying providers, not just on time, but immediately for their work, and decreasing the thing I don't like about it. And I want to dig into it more, Chip. I would like to see a complete decrease in the reliance on insurance companies. I would like to see more of these types of platforms pop up that are cash-based medicine and not insurance-based. And let's start changing the relationship between us and our medical environment, our medical community. Get their insurance companies out of the picture and allow it to go to cash-based and competitive. Healthcare is the only industry in the United States that isn't competitive, because you go in, you have no idea what anything costs. Let's make it competitive and free market. But this is like the beginning. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in healthcare. Healthcare is ripe. It's ripe. It needs change. It's antiquated and it needs an adjustment. So I'm going to look into this further.
Yeah, especially if they're pooling if they have liquidity, the same way they're going to have in the DeFi space, where you're going to be able to lend, right? You're going to be able to do that and absorb that as they could be set up as a DAO too. And there could be some interesting plays on that, where we, the people, replace the healthcare, we source it all, and we could do it in a better way. I mean, right now, just it's trading at 5 cents, and it's roughly ranked 638. It's got a $20 million market cap, so it's relatively young. But it's funny. Jeff and I talk about these sort of solutions in healthcare that nobody's quite really nailed it yet, but there's going to be a couple that will emerge. So,
and there's a lot of great comments here, man. I'm telling you. Look at this. What about crowdfunding medical device research? Phenomenal. Boom. What about crowdfund? Yeah, not just medical device research, but medical research. Being able to get to your doctor immediately via video. Healthcare should be running on VeChain. I don't know about VeChain, but that's interesting. AI has learned to read X-rays, and it's going to read so much more. AI is blowing up, and it's amazing what the AI is doing in the medical space with imaging. And it takes away, some of the issues. Big pharma going to have a problem with blockchain innovations. Big pharma's in trouble.
Of course they are. They're big time.
They're in trouble with that.
And Jeff, and I want to show something else. I want to kind of segment it, because I think it fits sort of like a nice bookend to what we're talking about here. Bringing up the whole idea of big pharma. Everything's going to be at
solve.care. Is the one I looked up. I think it's the same one. I don't know, but yeah.
I think so. I looked up Solve too. Maybe it's not, but I looked up that if you look up, you got to go to CoinDeckGecko, then you got to go click on the website. So sometimes there's only so many letters you can have, but that one looks like it's about right. But I want to look at this because we always talk heavily here about decentralization, and decentralization is a big threat. It's a massive threat. Okay, decentralization equals freedom, and whose freedom? Your freedom, our freedom. That's what it means. And it is a threat. It's a threat to everybody in big pharma. And everyone's like, well, I don't pay any attention to that. That's not going to be too big of a deal. But then check this story out here. Technocracy rising. World Economic Forum announces global coalition for digital safety. And look at that. Everyone needs an evil villain. And I love this right here. It says the internet's headed towards total censorship of unauthorized content, as well as individuals who consume or produce such content. Once you're identified as that unsafe, you could be banned from internet presence. You could be denied access to email and online accounts. So, but they do it under the guise, Jeff, of being helpful. Remember at Barclays, we're being helpful. We really care about you. Well, let me spend my money. Oh, no.
Nope.
We're going to protect you and your money and your bad choices because we, the bank, are going to decide for you. You know what I mean?
That's right. You can't do that. Don't spend your money. Not going to let you.
A public-private partnership with big tech and governments. They're going to uproot opinions from the internet. Oh, harmful. Well, who are the... So centralized entities are going to choose what's harmful. How about we go decentralized, Jeff? And how about we ignore all this static and noise? But again, this is what is sort of threatened. And that's where decentralization is, and blockchain are going to uproot and upend every part of you name it. It's going to be there. It also, I like it. It also, I'd be careful about some of the stuff you say. I gotta be really careful. It says anytime you hear the term "build back better," which you can hear in about 17, 20 nations, you know, it has a drunk poisonous Kool-Aid of the WEF and its founder. Build back better, build back better, build back better. You are evil. Sorry, Jeff. Not liking what you're saying tonight. You've been erased.
Oh, my social score was too low.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, it's not a social score. No, it's just a centralized entity with central planners deciding what's going to happen for you. Like, dude, in the history of the world, centralized planning has never worked. It's not even come close to working, and it's never been successful. But then people go like, you know what? We never did that, right? This group of people, me and my pals, we've never done it. So we can make it work, right, Jeff?
Like Patrick says, blockchain was invented by NSA DARPA. Got to be careful which one you trust.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes when stuff is invented, you know, because you go back to what was that movie about the dinosaurs, Jeff? Do you remember that famous movie about the dinosaurs? Let's rebirth the dinosaurs, you know, Jurassic Park.
No,
and they're like, and then
the comedy.
And then it got out of good, and then it always starts out as a good idea on paper. It's like, yeah, we'll just make dinosaurs, and then all of a sudden they got you lose control of stuff, and the next thing you know, all kinds of potential proverbial hell breaks loose. And we could not go any further without talking about the mass adoption, one of the largest sponsorship deals. So let's take us through what's happening in the sporting world. Jeff, you want to take us through where the sponsorships are happening, where they've already happened? This is a hint. Racing.
Let's see. We've got NASCAR, Indy, and Formula One.
Boom.
How great is that? Three of the big racing giants. And it might be in some of the smaller ones. I'm not sure. But, man, it's awesome when you have Crypto.com coming to F1. Doge and NASCAR, and Bitcoin, I think, was in Indy. Right? So, and then you've got some of the sporting complexes. What is down in Miami? What is it? The
FTX Center.
FTX Center. And then you've got, I don't know, they're popping up all over the place. It's amazing.
Now that one
really is amazing.
So they just one up them. I think that was 150 million, if I'm not mistaken. But this is UFC, which you know, I remember you go to like a bar and you go hang out with your buddies, you watch that, and then I bring my wife. She's like, "Oh, it's so violent," but it's just fantastic, man. I just love UFC. But a historic partnership.
SHIB. Hey, SHIB is in NASCAR.
Oh, SHIB. Okay, that's what I write. Yeah,
SHIB
good one.
Too.
Nice one, Joe. Appreciate that, SHIB. Remember when it was going by slow motion? It was getting
that was awesome. Was that SHIB or was that Doge? That was SHIB, right?
Inu, yeah. And then you got so Crypto.com is UFC's first official crypto platform partner, and Crypto.com is also UFC's first global official fight kit partner. See you at UFC 264.
Sweet.
That's and awesome. Let's hit this blog post right here to kind of jump into it. And no, thank you. I don't need that. First ever, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to go down to the dollar amount here. Where do we see it? No.
What's up with the Steve Willits is saying you're forgetting the Olympics. Was the Olympics somehow sponsored? And it was crypto.com sponsoring the Olympics too? We missed that. Crypto.com is popping up everywhere. But I don't know what they're. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I've never heard of the Olympics. I don't know what's going on with that. I was trying to find out where the actual price was.
I don't know.
175 million. I don't know. But I think it was over 200 million possibly. I thought they said in the story. I saw so many stories floating around about it. Yeah, well, throw us what you're thinking about as far as the I don't know about the Olympics. I haven't seen any like press on that. I mean, if they're sponsors. I know they were talking about using digital wallets and some kind of digital assets there, but I didn't know that actually they sort of got that cleaned up. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I've been watching a few of these comments. Nothing is ever free. That's all. That's Paul Murray was talking about NHS, but nothing is ever free. There's always a cost. As much as they want you to believe it's free, it's never free. There's always a cost.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's always a cost. There's no free lunch, right, Jeff? There is, but there's always something associated with it.
Always a catch. It's always something.
There's always a something.
Petition. What is this? Petition for Ripple to be the official sponsor of the Olympics. Okay, I don't know.
The little legs is coming up quickly, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeff, and on the heels, we talked about El Salvador. We talked about other countries. Now look at this. You got member of Argentina's National Congress just submitted a bill that would allow workers to receive salary in Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
that's it's just exploding, man.
How crazy! I mean, the Latin America is getting it. They're starting to catch on. There's a lot more stability in Bitcoin than in their assets. And they're not looking, other than El Salvador, where they want to kind of live and spend. They're going to find out, hey, maybe in the beginning, start out with the Bitcoin, but then maybe you need to get into some of the other assets. But when you have these guys over here in Argentina passing a bill to allow people to get paid in Bitcoin because they know where the value is. That's the store of value versus their own currency. Definitely an unbalance, so
yeah. And then it's to me, it's so, I mean, this is just one day of news. It's just a $200 million partnership and this and that and Argentina. And like, we're just covering one bit of the news. I remember how this used to go, when we started streaming, like even a year ago. And it was like, you're like finding something to sort of get, but look at this right here. Here we go. I want to get into this story because I can't pronounce this, Jeff. I'm going to rely heavily on you to see if you can pronounce this story right here. Let's see if you can read that headline off. I need
a bank partners with
okay, right.
Indusland.
It's missing a
vowel. Is it Indusland or Indusind? Is that an L or an I?
I think it's an I.
Indusind. Indusind?
Indus-IND, maybe? I don't know.
It must be. Indusind Bank partners with TP Central Odisha to launch fully digital payment network. And that is in, what does that say? Bhubaneswar?
Bhubaneswar.
Where is this?
This is
India. It's in India. I see Tata. So Tata Motors, Tata Power. That's interesting. And then you have Bharat Financial. Oh yeah, now I'm seeing all the names I recognize.
There you go.
Nice. Okay.
So there it is. You can see. So it's a nice thing, but then you come over here and you go like,
so that makes sense now. Indusind. So maybe India.
Yeah, Indusind Bank and Ripple. This was an article that came out in 2018. Tie up for cross-border payments, right? We're looking, and then we come over here. We see a payment thing happening. What you're seeing happening while everyone's looking at price and the hot meme coin, and I'm not nothing against it. We are crypto maxis. We believe in all digital assets. If you like the use case and it works for you. However, when you're looking at use case and you're looking at what we just dug into tonight, which was the on-demand liquidity, you could spin up credit. I mean, this is really amazing. So you got this from Mumbai. This was February 2018. Indusind announced its partnership with Ripple, the enterprise. And it's like people forget about this stuff. They're building the rails. They are building the foundational stuff. That's when they flick that switch. Watch out.
I like it. It's awesome. Hey, how about this comment from Paul? Pentagon cancels $10 billion cloud contract given to Microsoft over Amazon. Will the DoD come over to blockchain? What do you think?
That's something. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's interesting, man. I don't know. I mean, should they? They probably should. I mean, blockchain's great for some things. Now, when you're talking about, I think that was a cloud storage play, right? Wasn't that a cloud storage thing? Yeah, it was cloud storage contract. And so the thing about cloud storage is that you're still going to need, blockchain is going to be able to do certain things efficiently. What it's not is not a database manager. It's not great at that, right? You can store stuff there, but blockchain's not really, it's not what it's for. So that's why you have to have oracles that can go off chain and interface with the, with the database or the cloud or something like that. But that right there is going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. I'm curious to see what ends up happening with that puppy. But Jeff, what an exciting night. I mean, Ripple pulled a game changer. They're going into the tokenized everything world, and they're going to make it interoperable.
I like it. And
Beautiful.
It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. It's important.
And I want to thank everybody tonight. I want to thank everybody for the birthday wishes, the support of the channel. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You make this possible. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate. Jeff and I appreciate you guys coming in here. But you come in here to share the birthday wishes. Don't think they're going to go unnoticed. And don't think when we end this stream, Jeff and I go through the comments because we're too busy chatting during the damn show. But don't forget, we will see all of them. And every one of them is really important. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's all I have, Jeff. What do you got?
Nice. That's awesome. Hey, for those that are brand new here and you don't realize it, but we actually stream 6 days a week. Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's a pleasure having you guys on with us 6 days a week, taking your evenings, your mornings, your afternoons, whatever part of the world that you're coming from. If there's ever any specific topic, anything that you said, hey, I'd love if these guys just dug in a little bit more into X, whatever it is, shoot us a tweet, leave a comment. We do go through the comments, and it would be, great to dig in. So, and obviously your comments are always appreciated. Tomorrow is another night ship, and it happens to be Thursday. I don't know how it's Thursday already, but it is Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, exclusively on the chain. What do you think of that?
That would wrap that up beautifully, and I've got nothing more to say, but thank you, guys. I'm not going to go have a birthday drink. I'll see you on the next one. Jeff and I will see you on the next one. Jeff and I will do a virtual toast. See you later.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.